Yo, what's going on, man? Today is March the 14th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn early morning edition. We had ourselves a bit of a day yesterday. We got about 6 games on the slate for today. Six good games, but 6 games where it kind of feels like I don't know. We got some injury status that we got to wait on, but it does feel like you probably could have got ahead a couple of these lines last night. So just gonna jump into it for today, man. Always say hit the like button for me if you can, if you find the show informative, if it's helpful with your capping process. I did talk about a few player props yesterday that I just forgot to give them out to the members yesterday. So I'm glad I didn't, because they didn't end up cashing. But we did cash on the sides yesterday. One side, one total was all that I absolutely loved yesterday. A couple crazy spots and some crazy stuff that happened yesterday that kind of led us to where we are today as well. So jumping into just a quick recap, Orlando minus 6.5 was the favorite play. It was the top spot on the board yesterday, in Golden State. And Dallas to go under the 233.5 also was the other top spot. LeBron points plus assists. Like I said, I played it, but it's not on here because I didn't give it out to the members. And then I also played Cade Cunningham over his 22.5 points as well. He fell short. Shot the ball 20 times. Led a spot for both of them. Bron just didn't shoot the ball well. I think he was 6 for 18. The Lakers get smoked in Sacramento last night, even with the rest advantage. And then, of course, like I said, K shot 8 for 20 last night and didn't cash us over either. So we're just gonna get into it for today, man. I see a couple spots on the board that, like I said, moved already. But this is one of the ones where I feel like you can still potentially make a play here. You got the Phoenix Suns. They'll be on the road in Boston, in Beantown today, getting 5.5 points as road dogs against the Boston team that we know have been absolutely elite. This is for Phoenix. You do get Eric Gordon listed as questionable. Nasir Little and Josh Okogie also will remain out in this game. Second straight road game for the Phoenix Suns. They do have 2 days of rest here in the first leg of a back-to-back, but it's just Charlotte tomorrow, so not really too much of a look-ahead spot. They probably go all out tonight, and struggle in that game against Charlotte, because I do think they're going to be motivated in this spot, especially coming off a loss against the Boston Celtics just a couple of days ago. So Phoenix 17-13 straight up, but just 13-16 against the 13-16-1 against the spread on the road. They've also failed to cover, their last few games as well. Just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10. They struggled against Cleveland. However, they were laying a big number. And the trend looks different when they're road dogs versus when they're road favorites, and specifically on the defensive end. We'll talk about that in a little bit in a second. I looked a little bit more into it. So as road dogs this season, Phoenix is 5-6 straight up. They've won 5 of the 11 games outright when they're a dog on the road. They're 6-5 against the spread. They're also 9-2 to the under in this spot. And you see the money already coming in on the under. This total opened up at 231. And it's down to 227.5. Now, on the Boston side, Porzingis has already been rolled out. You do expect to get Al Horford back, who missed the last game because it was the second of a back-to-back when they played against the Utah Jazz. But you still got Jaylen Brown listed as questionable. I'm not sure if he's going to play. He has been playing, even though he's been listed as questionable. But I'm not sure if he's going to play in this spot. I would think that Jaylen Brown would play. Like from a head-to-head perspective, like I said, Boston did just beat them 117-107 in Phoenix. That game went under the total. This one opened up at 234. And to me, it just kind of feels like an under spot, man. Boston can play, some really elite defense, even without Porzingis being a part of their lineup. Phoenix defense is always pretty locked in when they're road dogs as well. I just told you guys they're 9-2 to the under as road dogs. And both teams kind of trending towards the under. Before Phoenix went over in their game against Cleveland, they were actually, I think, 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games. So, being rested, you get, the difference in this game versus the last one is that, you do get Devin Booker in. So Devin Booker being back, still got Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. I think that's crazy enough. I think the Suns can keep this one close, man. I don't like the spot for Boston. It'll be their first game back home after 5 road games. Like I said, they did win and cover the last 3. But I don't like the spot as much, man. They are 29-3 at the crib as well, 18-14 against the number, and 8-2 in their last 10 games. So not the greatest spot for Boston. It's a really difficult game for me to handicap. I think I do lean with Phoenix, though. I think they can keep this one close. I think that they got enough to keep this one close. Now, granted, they're not the greatest offensive team. I'm sorry, granted they're not the greatest defensive team, but I think Boston. I mean, they're gonna have to really lock in this spot, and I don't like the spot as much for Boston. So I lean Phoenix. I didn't play it. I think the under would be the better play in this game with both teams probably locking in on the defensive end. So that would be my recommendation, probably under more so than picking a side in this one. I think it's still a little bit of value at the 227.5. All right, so next game up, Chicago Bulls will be at the crib today. They are getting 7 points now. Yeah, 7 points. And I skipped over the Wizards and the Houston Rockets game. I'll go over that one later during the live show. I just didn't get a chance to. Honestly, I didn't really care too much for it, and didn't really get a chance to dive too deep into it. But this Clippers and Bulls game, I think, will be an interesting one. So, I'm sorry, the Clippers. So you do got PG. You do got James Harden and Kawhi listed as questionable. PG is not on the injury report. This Clippers team, first road game after 3 straight home games. First, they do have 1 day's rest in between, and it's the first leg of a back-to-back with a big look-ahead spot tomorrow to the New Orleans Pelicans. However, reading through some of the post-game comments, I was looking into what Ty Lue said about them blowing that big lead, and Ty Lue kind of challenged this team during the post-game interview. He challenged their mental toughness, saying that they can't continue to blow these leads like they did, because they did get up by 20 to the Minnesota Timberwolves and lost the game by 18 points. I think they lost 118 to 100. I think that's the motivation in this spot, man. You get a Chicago team that lost Kobe White last night. For anybody who watched that, he had his hand. Well, it looked like more like his quad landed on when he attempted a layup at the end of the fourth quarter, and he didn't return. I looked into what the beat writers were saying, and they said he was, in good spirits after the game and in the locker room laughing with his teammates. And then I think Coach Billy Donovan said that he'd get further assessed today. So without him on the floor, man, I'm not sure how Chicago is going to score. I know DeMar DeRozan went crazy last night. I think he had another 40-point game. But you get the Chicago Bulls, second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, and off of overtime. That's a terrible spot, especially against the Clippers team that I think is going to be extremely motivated. Now, the Bulls do have playoff revenge because not playoff revenge, but the Bulls do have revenge because they did lose after they got smoked in that game. I think it was last Sunday when they lost to the Clippers after getting out to, a nice lead. This line was actually 3.5 last night when Kobe White went down. I looked at it and I wanted to play it. I said, yeah, I should probably play it. I don't know, man. I feel like I need those Clippers in. They're already shorthanded, of course, without Russell Westbrook. But this is a Clipper or nothing spot for me. It's the only way I would be able to look to play this one. You got all of the starters for the Chicago Bulls playing heavy minutes. DeRozan played 44 last night. Vucevic 43. Ayo DeSumo played 43. It's a major fatigue spot. Like I said, second leg of a back-to-back, 3rd and 4, and off an overtime game. Chicago hasn't necessarily been the worst in those spots. I did look into that as well. They're 6-5 straight up and against the spread on 0 days rest. They've actually won and covered 3 straight in this spot, and they're 4-0 to the over in this spot as well. They're 5-4 straight up and against the spread after an overtime game. And this is what really stood out to me. The Chicago Bulls are 8-1 to the over, with all 9 of their opponents actually going over their team total when they're coming off an overtime game. So, like I said, the situational spot says that the Clippers should be able to score in this spot. They should be motivated to keep their foot on the pedal, and they do have some advantages if you get Kawhi and James Harden in here. I don't know, how much they'll be able to score without Kawhi and James Harden, and both, like I said, both of those guys are listed as questionable. Bones Highland hasn't been necessarily the greatest coming in and replacing Russell Westbrook. We know Russell Westbrook is more of a playmaker versus Bones Highland is more of a scorer. So and Westbrook just brings a toughness. Somebody that can put his head down and get to the rim. Where Bones Highland really just shooting a bunch of pull-up jump shots. He's trying to get to the rim, but he hasn't necessarily been that successful in picking up the minutes for James Harden. I'm sorry, picking up the minutes for Russell Westbrook. So I lean Clippers in this spot. I think the Bulls could run out of gas. It should be a spot where they run out of gas, but not anything I play. I think the Clippers team total over. The number's 110.5. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but if James Harden and Kawhi get rolled in, that's the way I would look in this one, would be team total over for the Clippers. Probably just stay away from the spread in this one. Next game up, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. They will be in Milwaukee, taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Getting, I think it's what, 8.5 points. Yeah, 8.5 points. This time was actually at 9, and you see the money come in on Philly. It was at 9 yesterday evening when I was handicapping the games, and the total was at 222.5, and it's down to 220.5. I definitely agree with the movement there. I think, looking at the way the Bucks got smoked in that last game, I think it's a spot where you kind of want to play on the Bucks. I know it's not the greatest spot for them. Them coming off, the road trip. So looking at this game for Philly, third straight road game, and they got a game against the Charlotte Hornets on Saturday. So no look ahead spot. They absolutely got smoked, of course, by the Knicks the other day. Milwaukee got a couple injury implications. You got Malik Beasley listed as questionable. Not sure if he's going to play. Patrick Beverley is listed as probable, and Chris Middleton remains out. So the spot for Milwaukee, not the greatest. It's the first game back home after 4 straight road games. They've actually played 8 of their last 10 as well on the road. First, only 1 day rest to get back to the East Coast as well, and they do have the Phoenix Suns on deck. They don't play the Phoenix Suns until Sunday though. So I think more so when you lose the way that you did to the Sacramento Kings, you kind of got to come out with something in the next game. And I know it's, like I said, not the greatest spot, but I think Bucks early would be the best spot in this game. The Bucks are also just 1-5 against the spread coming home off a loss. But one thing I looked at was I just kind of went back and read some of the quotes from that post-game interview. And Giannis said, quote, we got to match their energy, find the pace, especially early in the game. If you're not locked in and you're not able to match the same energy as them, you're going to have problems. I think starting the game, it sets the tone for the rest of the game. It's going to be a track meet. They're going to play fast. They're going to shoot the ball with 17 seconds on the shot clock. If you're not locked in from the first second, you're going to have a problem. We weren't locked in. And this is specifically talking about the Kings game. And I think that they kind of I think that that's what they need to do, man. You see the Bucks, they really started to slip defensively. I think that they, not really too much offense on this Philadelphia team, in my opinion. I mean, you really just got Maxey out there. You want to limit Oubre and not let Tobias Harris get going. But Buddy Hield's, shaky with his shot. I think Milwaukee early in this game, first half, I probably would stay away from the first quarter. But I do feel like Milwaukee first half minus the 4.5 is probably the best spot in this game. You probably can get a -4, honestly, shopping around. But it's not something that I play yet. But I think the Bucks coming back home, the way they got punched in the mouth, losing that game by, I think it was close to 30 against Sacramento, would be the right play in this spot. Philly is still a team that I don't think you necessarily fear. Even though they got the upset win without Maxey in New York on Sunday, I think they're more like the team that just played against the Knicks in the second game. So I would lean Bucks early in this spot. Don't know if I get there with the full game, but that's the way I would look in this spot. I do think the under is in play as well. I think after the Bucks lose that way that they did, they'll be more locked in on the defensive end. And Philly's offense has not been good. We know that they've been a bottom 10 offense post All-Star break. So those are my thoughts on that game. A game that I actually did bet and one that the line has moved a tad bit on is this Dallas and OKC game. So we talked about this one, on the live show yesterday evening. Talked about it being an OKC spot. So for Dallas, getting into it, second leg of a back-to-back. Dallas has actually been good on the second leg of back-to-backs. They're 7-3 against the spread when they're unrested this season. 5-0 against the spread when they're unrested this season on the second leg of a back-to-back. And they're on the road, I think. But hold on, let's see. What did I? All right. So second leg of a back-to-back. They are 7-3 against the spread when they're unrested. 5-0 against the spread when they're unrested this season on the second leg of a back-to-back. I think that is when they're on the road as well. I think I forgot to write that down. But those wins did come against the Raptors, the Nets, the Wizards. They do got to win in here against the Magic and the Timberwolves. Of course, without Luka, they were getting about 12 points in that game in Minnesota. Yeah, these are road games. So they have done well on the road. Like I said, 5-0 against the spread when they're unrested on the road. Dallas is they're actually getting outscored because for people who had a chance to watch that game last night, Luka went down with a hamstring injury. He did not return. And just looking at the beat reporters, they just speculating, but they don't think that Luka is going to play. They don't even think Luka is going to travel. Dallas has a big game coming up. I think it's on Sunday against the Denver Nuggets. So I think that game Luka taking the day off, and this one, especially on the second leg of a back-to-back, I think makes the most sense. And that could really, hinder this offense, which is going to lead to the play that I'll tell you guys about in a second. So I looked into some of the numbers without Luka on the floor. Dallas is actually getting outscored by about 4.5 points per 100 possessions without Luka, and their offense generating about 115 points per game, 115 points per 100 possession. Defensively, they're giving up 119 points per 100 possessions, which actually puts their defense fourth worst without Luka on the floor. But with Luka on the court, they're actually outscoring opponents by about 5 points per 100 possessions. So he means about 9 points based on what the numbers that I'm telling you guys, he means about 9 points to how many points they score. And I think that's big in this one. I also looked at it with Kyrie on the floor and Luka off the floor. It's been about a little over 1,100 possessions, and the Mavs are they still scoring. They're scoring 120.5 points per 100 possessions, but they're giving up 121. I just kind of feel like OKC is in one of those really good bounce back spots. They were embarrassed 146-111 in Dallas on February the 10th. OKC did win the first game of the matchup, but OKC gets Jalen Williams back. He's not on the injury report. He should be good to go. They're coming off a home loss against the Indiana Pacers as well. And they got, like I said, they got smoked against this Dallas team. So a couple of trends that I looked at was rested home favorites off a home loss, facing an unrested opponent that also beat them in their last matchup, 111-76-6 against the spread. That's about 60%. Thunder also 19-9 against the spread as a home favorite, which is 68%. I think they're the second most profitable home team behind the Orlando Magic. Thunder also 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the spread as a home favorite coming off a home loss. And they're 8-1 straight up, 7-2 against the spread, facing an unrested opponent this season, 4-1 against the spread when they're at home in this spot, and they're winning by an average of 20 points. So this is a Thunder spot. I wanted to kind of do my homework, before giving out the play yesterday. And this number, like I said, it was already on the move. I think it opened at like 6.5. Then it went to 7.5. I think OKC wins the game with their defense here. And I think, they'll be able to limit this Mavs offense without Luka being on the floor. Even though they still have Kyrie, OKC has been the third best defensive rated team since the All-Star break. And they're more rested in this spot. They're also 4-0 to the under at home since the All-Star break when they're home favorites, which, that's been every single game. In their last four, they're 4-0 to the under. The Mavs, don't look now, but they've actually been playing a tad bit better defense as well. They've actually held four of their five opponents under their team total when they're unrested on the road this season. So this is a spot where the Mavs typically, they're typically counted out, and I think that you should probably count them out in this spot. But I don't know. 10 is a big number. 10 is a really, really big number. I don't know if OKC blows the doors off this Dallas Mavericks team today. Like I said, they still got Luka. Still got Kyrie. But I do think that OKC steps up in this spot. I played OKC last night. I gave it out at 7.5. Not the I wouldn't say the biggest play in the world. I do think that they get their revenge though. This should be close to a double-digit win. I'm not 100% sure if I laid a 10. I also played the under. I feel like the under. I gave it out at 239 last night as one of my favorite plays for today as well. And then I figured the total was going to drop just a tad bit. Like I said, I think Dallas, like I said, they typically bring the defense without Luka. Their defense gets a little better. And OKC, I think, will be locked in, especially coming off a home loss and coming off the revenge spot. So 2 plays for me here. Dallas, I played Mavs, Dallas and OKC. The under 239 is what I played. And then I also played OKC minus the 7.5, but figuring this number would balloon, and it's all the way up to 10 now. So of course I don't like it as much, but I need OKC today. I definitely need them today. Next game up, and I think this is the last game I went through. It might be the last game on the board. We got the Knicks and the Blazers. This game will be played in Portland tonight. And this one kind of got away from me as well, man. This line was at 8 last night. And I said it on the evening show. I'm not sure if people locked it in or not, but I hadn't seen the line yet. It was actually at 8, and this total was at 211.5. It's all the way down to 206.5 now. I actually went to 205, and then you see it come back up to 206. And this number that was 8 has now ballooned into 11.5. And I think it's for a good reason, man. You got a 5th straight home game for Portland. It's the second leg of a back-to-back for them as well. The 8-3 straight up and 9-2 against the spread on the second leg of a back-to-back. That was something that I've been kind of paying attention to, because I remember Portland almost beat OKC on the second leg of a back-to-back early this season. So something I've been tracking. Portland has actually been the most profitable team against the spread when they're unrested this season. So it's not a spot you typically want to fade them in. Like I said, 9-2 against the spread when they're unrested this season. They've actually covered and they've won and covered the last 4 in this spot. But this one doesn't really matter. It's a not only is it the second leg of a back-to-back, it's also a 5th game in 7 nights. And I think it's a fadeable spot here. Now, granted, Jeremy Grant didn't play last night. He could come back, but we know the Knicks, man. This team, they get OG Anunoby back, and they look just like the Knicks with OG Anunoby. So you got them more rested, of course. I think 1 day of rest compared to 0. First road game after 5 straight home games. Second game back for OG. They're actually 4-0 straight up and against the spread at 7-point favorites or more on the road. And I looked at that number specifically because it was 8 last night. They're also 4-0 to the under in this spot, and they've actually held all 4 of their opponents under their team total, only allowing about 97.5 points per game in this spot as road favorites of 7 points or more. And what the OG Anunoby effect is, 13-2 straight up, 12-3 against the spread with OG Anunoby in this season. They're winning by average of 15 points and only allowing about 99 points per game. This Portland Trailblazer team, they went all out last night against the Atlanta Hawks. You see Aiden, they're saying that he's unlocked. They calling him dominating, which is so corny. But yeah, my man had 30 last night. Anthony Simons went off. I don't think it happens again tonight. They all played heavy minutes. They won that game by 4 points last night. New York already beat this Portland team on January 9th. They were laying 13 at the crib and beat them by 28. So I know it's a hefty number. I'm not involved in the 11.5. I missed the 8. So I just took the team total to go under. Looking at it from an X's and O's perspective, Portland is top 5 in offensive rebound and offensive rebound rate, and I think that's one of the advantages that Portland typically has that keeps them in the game. But New York has been excellent at rebounding the basketball and neutralizing that. I think they neutralized that advantage for Portland Trailblazers in this spot. I also think that OG Anunoby being back is going to help, with them with the rebounds as well. But you got Josh Hart down there who continues to get double-digit rebounds and triple doubles. He also going back to Portland for whatever that means. In Portland, they don't score off live ball steals or off live ball rebounds, which is one of the advantages, one of the things that they could take advantage of against the Knicks. So I locked in Portland team total under 99.5 was the number last night. I actually opened at 100, but before I could give it out, it had already dropped to 99.5. And right now, Portland team total is 97.5. So this game is expected to be extremely low scoring. Jeremy Grant gets ruled in. The number might come back up. Like I said, he did miss that game yesterday. I'm not sure if he's going to play here tonight or not. He is dealing with a hamstring injury. But they still be without Malcolm Brogdon. No Shaedon Sharpe, of course. But they kind of got some of their offensive guys back with Simons being back in the lineup, Scoot Henderson being back, and DeAndre Ayton. I just think that the Knicks not giving up close to 100 points. I think that defense continues to play really, really well with OG Anunoby back in the lineup. So that was the other play that I gave. All of the plays that I gave out, actually, the lines have moved already. And this is what I played. I gave out OKC minus the 7.5, Dallas and OKC under the 239, Portland team total under 99.5. Strongly considering that Clippers team total over. And if I had to give out a best bet on the show, I would wait for this number, but it's the only one that I absolutely love so far. And I got it. Like I said, if I get involved in the Phoenix and Boston game, maybe I'll add another play there. But this is what I felt most comfortable with last night and the plays that I gave out, kind of handicapping the game before. I do think that Milwaukee first half is also should be something that's considered, especially just the way that they came out in that Sacramento Kings game. They got blitzed early. I don't think that Philly has the level of offense. They don't play at a frenetic pace like the Sacramento Kings do. And that's what continues to give the Bucks trouble, right? When they're playing against teams like the Kings, the Pacers, these young athletic teams. I know that they have Maxey on the other side, but outside of Maxey, nobody else is, running the offense like De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. So Milwaukee first half is something that I considered as well. and I could potentially get to the window with. Just got to do a little bit more deep digging, but I like that Clippers team total to go over. I just want Harden and Kawhi to be ruled in, and then Boston first half has been a thing, but not anything that I don't think I'm gonna get to the window with here today. I like playing Boston when they have a full roster, and I do think that looking at the Phoenix Suns, they could have a little bit of revenge on their mind here and potentially shock the world, man. And as this number moves to 6, so we'll see how it goes for today, man. I'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern time as always. Resources for you guys and what I'm using to kind of handicap the games are all listed here. I'll check out the comments offline. I appreciate everybody for tapping in with me as always. Like the video if you guys thought this was helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Share it with your friends, your family. Always bet responsibly. Enjoy the games. I'll catch you guys at 5 p.m. for the evening show, man. And like I said, I'll catch the comments offline. I'm out.